Bună dimineața. Good morning. Distinguished guests, dear friends, it's a great pleasure for me to open the third edition of One Health Student International Conference. My name is Florin Stănică. I'm the Vice Rector for International Relations at the University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary Medicine in Bucharest. And it's a great pleasure to announce that the third edition of this important student scientific event it's organized in partnership with other distinguished universities from Europe. First of all, I need to mention the University of Agriculture in Krakow, the University of Forestry in Sofia, and UNILASAL Institute Polytechnique from Beauvais, Paris. In the same time, our conference is organized in partnership with ISOHA, the International Student One Health Association. And I would like from the very beginning to thank the student organizing committee for the efforts that they put to bring us together in this wonderful day. I would like to mention that, as you could see in our program, we have 60 papers, 5 topics, and representatives from 23 countries. It's a great honor to have here distinguished guests from South Africa, from Mpumalanga University, our colleagues and partners, but also we have many other colleagues from Latvia, from Germany, from other European and international countries, and also quite many participants online. As you know, probably the conference is also organized in hybrid form, so we will have presentations from different countries online. We have today with us the Vice President, the Vice Rector of Krakow University of Agriculture, the Vice Rector Andrzej Sečman, and I would like to ask him to address us a few words. Andrzej, if you see us or hear us. Dzień dobry. Can you hear me? Good morning, dzień dobry.
I cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me. We can hear you perfectly.
I cannot hear the conference call.
Can you hear me now? Scrie un mesaj pe chat. Can you hear us now? We can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, dzień dobry. Good morning, welcome to our conference.
Good morning, everyone, everybody. I can tell you that after the conference, I would like to give a short address to the conference from Krakow here. It is very snowy city nowadays. Dear lecturers, distinguished conference guests, young participants, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the partners of the new European University Consortium entitled Step to Green Europe, One Health approach for a green university with the acronym SEREN, I would like to express my appreciation to Professor Robin Sanka, the Vice President for International Relations at the University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary Medicine of Bucharest, for inviting me and other Serena partners to the One Health International Student Conference. Now let me say a few words about Serena, our international university. This university alliance will carry out education and research in veterinary medicine, animal and food sciences, forestry, environmental engineering, bioeconomy, and climate protection. It comprises the following 9 universities. I am going to list them in the alphabetical order. RS University of Applied Sciences from Germany, Ankara University, Turkey, Polytechnic Institute, Unilateral, France, South Westphalia University of Applied Sciences from Germany, University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary of Bucharest from your country, University of Forestry from Bulgaria, University of Messina, University of Veterinary Medicine and Pharmacy, Košice from Slovakia, and University of Agriculture in Chicago is my university as a coordinator. Our application will be submitted within the forthcoming European University Erasmus Plus program with topic 1, development of deep institutional transnational cooperation. The SENE is a university alliance which develops innovative solutions for European agriculture as well as smart cities and villages. Our vision is to create a common university campus in which students, academic teachers, and researchers from culturally different societies jointly develop competencies and solutions to keep Europe and our planet healthy and prosperous, especially by providing to the European market healthy food. The most important is to include elements of sustainable and precise agriculture to the education program, as well as to elevation of interdisciplinary learning, the development of transferable skills and real-world problems solved together with associated partners. Therefore, we are going to improve physical methods for European agriculture and livestock education in a way that we open up learning and combine innovative teaching methods across our institutions to convey knowledge more efficiently. This should equip our graduates with future-oriented competencies and right employability. The background of Serena University is affiliated with European strategies for universities and the European Green Deal. This concept supports an inclusive transformation of the European Union of a fair and prosperous society with a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy. Moreover, Serena subscribes to One Health, an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainability, balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. It is a global framework for designing and implementing programs, policies, legislation, and research in which multiple sectors communicate and work together to achieve better public health with the right. It recognizes that the health of humans, domestic and wild animals, plants, and the wider environment, including ecosystems, is closely linked and interdependent. The challenge is to recognize that health not only requires a focus on disease issues, which may be the most important in the one health crisis, but also to consider healthy nutrition and action to ensure a sustainable environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now thank Professor Robin Sanka, the Vice Director for International Relations at the University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary Medicine of Bucharest, for inviting the University of Agriculture in Krakow to be involved in this conference. Closing my speech, I wish all participants, especially students and young researchers, a successful conference, fruitful discussion, and interesting ideas for future research. Thank you very much for your attention.
Dear Mr. Vice Rector Andrzej Seczman, thank you so much. Dziękuję bardzo for your nice words and certainly for bringing us together. Selene, it's an important university partnership that are bringing us together. As you mentioned, 7 important universities of Europe are building together this consortium, and One Health, it's one of the topics that are extremely important for our activity in research and education. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy your conference. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Dear friends, as you know, our conference has 5 sessions. It's the first session will be landscape, green areas, and forests for healthy life. I would like our friends online to close their microphones. Thank you. The second session is sustainable plant production. It will start this afternoon and will continue tomorrow. In the same time, Tuesday, we will have animal welfare. We will continue with environmental health and climate changes, and the last session will be Wednesday, 6th of December, on healthy food and nutrition. I would like to ask if from online there is some other colleagues from Selene Consortium that would like to address us some welcome message. If not, I would like also to present the regards of our rector, Mr. Sorin Mihai Câmpeanu. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here at our opening, but he helped us a lot with the organization, and we need to thank the University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary Medicine in Bucharest to host this important student conference, as I mentioned, at its 3rd edition. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Cristian Ghiurcă. He's the Vice President of the Student Union of Romania, an important student organization that works closely with our student organization from our university. Mr. Ghiurcă, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. Distinguished guests, fellow members of the academic community, esteemed members of the audience. My name is Cristian Ghiurcă, and I represent the Students' Union of Romania, the biggest federation of representing the students in Romania. And I would like to thank the University of Agronomic Sciences and Veterinary Medicine for the invitation, and would like to thank you for being in the attendance. I stand before you today, humbled to be part of this remarkable gathering of remarkable minds to transform the concept of One Health. As we convene at this International Student Conference, we are united by a shared vision to foster a world where the health of humans, animals, and environment are linked and mutually reinforced. The One Health approach, rooted in an understanding that our health is fundamentally intertwined with the health of our planet, has emerged as a beacon of hope in addressing the complex challenges that transcend traditional boundaries. From the emergence of infectious disease and devastating impacts of climate change on ecosystems and human beings, the One Health paradigm offers a holistic framework for tackling these pressing issues. However, the path is not without its obstacles. We must confront the daunting task of bringing the gap between human and animal health, environment sciences, and social sciences. We must strive to break down barriers, foster interdisciplinary collaboration, and communicate efficiently across diverse fields of expertise. The challenges we face are immense, but our potential to make a difference is even greater. As One Health advocates, we must harness our collective ingenuity to develop innovative solutions that address the root cause of health disparities, environmental degradation, and food security challenges. In this endeavor, we must not underestimate the power of education and outreach. We must empower communities with knowledge and tools to protect their health and environment. We must engage policymakers to adopt One Health principles into national and international frameworks. The One Health International Students Conference serves as a powerful platform to amplify your voices and our voices, to share our knowledge and forge lasting partnerships that will help the future of One Health. Let us seize the opportunity to connect, collaborate, and inspire others as we embark on this transformative journey. Together, we can harness the power of One Health to create a world where human health, animal health, and environmental health thrive in harmony. As a representative of the student community, I would like to wish you good luck in the future sessions, and let's see each other next time. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gurka. Certainly this triad, environment, animal health, and human health, it's so important, and we need to work together to share the knowledge and to help to build a better world. Students in our consideration are the most important to bring together this idea and to develop it in the future. So please allow me to give the floor to Mr. Dan Toma. He's the chair of the Student Organizing Committee of this edition of One Health International Student Conference. Also thanking again for their involvement, for the hard work that they did to organize this international event. Dan, please.
Thank you. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, this is my first formal speech, so I'll try all my best. As Mr. Vice Rector mentioned, my name is Dan Toma, and I'm the chair of Students Organizing Committee of this edition. During these days, I was thinking how to begin this speech, and before all, I want to congratulate all of you for taking part in One Health International Students Conference. I'm glad that we gathered here over 20 countries to share our knowledge for creating a sustainable world. I think all of us would agree that nowadays there are many environmental changes, and because of that, the people's interest about green topics has raised in the last years. This is one of the reasons why we aimed to raise awareness about landscape and green areas for healthy life, environment health and climate changes, animal welfare, sustainable plant production, healthy food and nutrition. On this edition, the third one, the local students organizing committee was formed by 11 volunteers who tried their best to make this possible together with the involved professors. So in the end, I would like to thank them both, the professors and the students. And also I hope that you will have a great time here in Bucharest and in Romania. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Our students prepare some special surprises for our participants, so you need to to check the program, and also they will take care of our guests. Yesterday, the first arrivals had the possibility to know Bucharest city, even it was quite rainy and quite cold, but you are young and strong, so I think you enjoyed the tour offered by our students. We are perfectly in time, so I would suggest to start the next session, the first session actually, landscape, green areas and forests for healthy life. The moderators are my colleague and friend Mihai Enescu and Dan Toma. So Mihai, please take your job and introduce the first keynote speaker, Mr. Gabriel Oltean. Thank you so much.
Share documente. Să pot share-ui.
Tu rămâi acolo și caută călărețul.
Thank you, Professor Stanica. It's a great pleasure for me to moderate this first session, and I am very happy to be for the third conference together with professors and students across Europe. It is my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Gabriel Oltean. He graduated in 2012 at the Faculty of Forestry from Brașov. He was actually the head of the class. Shortly after he graduated the forestry studies, he moved to Canada, where he did master's studies at University of Alberta. After that, he refused to go to Yale University to do a PhD studies because he returned in Romania to work in forest administration, and not only. Currently, he's working as a personal advisor for the Minister of Environment, Waters and Forest. And based on this and his, let's say, experience, he will give us a talk related with the importance of forest from the health perspective. And I'm inviting him right now. Gabi, please.
All right, so good morning, everyone. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use this one. Can you hear me? Is it on? All right, so Mihai, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for your invitation. I am actually excited and honored to be a speaker today at the third edition of this conference. I was just thinking that I'm happy to see so many students present here today, and I hope those that are online can see and hear us as well. I was thinking that, you know, not long ago I was in your shoes in the room, but actually that was like 10 years ago, and it actually sounds like a long time, not that short, if you think about it. For today's conference, I somehow wanted to link the main topic of your of the conference, health, to the topic that's close to my heart and that I've been working with for the last decade or so, and that is forests, link them to healthy communities, of course, through healthy forests. On the right-hand side here, you can see an image that I took one morning when I was doing my field work. And it's an image that I have close to my heart, and I have actually on the desktop, on my desktop computer, because first off, it just gives all the peace and the quietness of the forest, and then all this light shining through the trees gives you somehow hope and energizes you for the day. So that's why I have it on my screen. Now, for today's talk, I have three main topics. First off, I want to emphasize the connection between people and forests/nature. Then show you how we actually managed to somehow not necessarily ruin this relationship, but to make it a bit difficult, and then present some of the technologies and some of the solutions we have available to mend this relationship. So first off, imagine you were like after the last ice age, 25,000 years ago, and you had to survive. You couldn't do that without having a strong connection with nature. Because obviously you were dependent on nature for food, water, and shelter, because you could only get food from whatever you could pick. And then also shelter was in the environment. Then you were all the time in competition with predators. You were in competition with fellow members of your species, and you were also in competition for the resources that you needed in order to survive. So all this required a strong connection of you as an individual with nature, and a strong knowledge of nature, and an understanding of nature. So in order to ensure your survival, you needed to understand seasons, the changing pattern of them to prepare for what's going to come. You needed to understand the behavior of animals, so that you knew when you could hunt them, you knew later on how you could rear them. And then also the importance of plants to our society and to our survivability. Another important aspect of it was you had, through nature, the possibility to enhance your social and health well-being. When I'm thinking of health, you have medicinal herbs, which were the first medicine drugs that we actually used to ensure our health. And then through cooperation with fellow members of your tribe, and with a spiritual connection with nature, you ensured that you actually had all the skills necessary to survive. So all this together gave you the evolutionary advantage to pass on your genes and to survive as an individual and to evolve as a species. And this, again, could only happen through connection with nature and obviously forests. I looked a bit into the spiritual connection of humans with nature and forests, and here you have the world, and in every location, every continent, and wherever you have forest, you have a god. You have in the local mythology, you have some deity that is related to forest, is related to nature. And you have them here in Africa, you have them in Southeast Asia. Even in Oceania, I was surprised to find a god that was related to forests and to nature. Obviously, you had them here in Europe, where you have more than just the ones that I listed here. And I want to emphasize Silvanus, because it's the Roman deity for forests. And obviously you recognize the silva, which actually stands for silviculture, and for it's the root word for everything that's related to forestry. And in all of these cases, those deities were guardians of the forests. And those deities would punish you if you mistreated the forest and its dwellers. So somehow you had to fear the forest, or you had to respect the forest, because that forest ensured your survival after all. And that somehow created a balanced relationship between we as humans and nature, which ensured our survival. Most of the deities were related also to herbs and animals and hunting, that the creatures that dwelled and developed with the forest. I actually surprised me to see the one in Brazil, the one in the Amazon forest, Curupira here, which had a somehow negative connotation to it, because it was a demon, which had the same role to protect the forest and its dwellers. But it wasn't something that you would worship and look forward to, but it was a creature that would punish you if you actually didn't appreciate and respect the forest. Moreover, aside from all these deities, our mythology and our culture is full of enchanted forests. And here I'm only going to refer to Mirkwood, which was a dark forest that knights and kings, princes had to go through in order to enhance their skills and to pass the test to enter kingdom. And you have the cedar forest, which is referred to in the Epic of Gilgamesh as a trial for our warriors. But enough with spirituality and whatever is like subjective, right? Because if I return back to my master's classes, I remember a quote from statistics which said, like, whatever you cannot measure, you cannot influence, or you cannot change. So for this relation between human society and nature, can we actually quantify it? Can we see a benefit of forest onto our health? And I was not surprised to find actual studies that relate to a new concept of forest medicine. And this is a paper published in 2023, so it's quite recent, and it's an emerging trend. And I'm going to explain you what it relates to. So it all revolves around the inhalation of phytocides and terpenes, which are volatile organic compounds emitted by trees in their natural state. And once you just walk through the forest and take an effort to go on a hike, inhaling these chemicals has an anti-inflammatory effect, and it's also boosting your immune system. Because what these phytocides and terpenes are, they are actually the part of the immune system of the trees, because they release these organic compounds whenever they are under a threat, or whenever they are attacked and stressed by some factors. And by these chemicals, they are able to share their stress, or to alert other trees that something is happening, something bad is coming. Like, imagine we have all heard stories about bark beetles in Central Europe and also in Romania here. And whenever a bark beetle or a host of bark beetles goes into a spruce tree, that spruce tree is starting to emit terpenes, these chemicals here, and those chemicals will warn the surrounding trees that there is an invading agent, an invading pathogen that is going to stress and is going to affect the trees. So since these chemicals, they're natural and their objective is to help the trees, obviously inhaling them is gonna boost our immune system, and it's gonna enhance our capacity to fight off our own pathogens. Of course, among other benefits, you have reduced stress, lowered blood pressure, and there was actually a study that compared the effect of walking through a forest and walking through the city. And they took like a group of students, I guess it was. They are the perfect, perfect pets for this kind of studies. And they took a group of students that had to walk through the forest and another group that walked through the city. And at the end of that 50-minute or half an hour walk, they measured the cortisol levels in their saliva and found a statistically significant difference between the cortisol levels before the walk and after the walk through the forest. Now, if you think about it, you cannot simply take apart and just think of these phytoncides, because it's the whole experience of going through the forest, and it's not just inhaling some chemicals that will help your immune system and that will boost your natural capacity to fight off diseases and pests. They also referred to here, and I didn't want to emphasize this too much, about some natural killing cells that are enhanced by phytoncides, and those cells somehow would help our organism cope with cancer. I don't want to get into actually curing cancer, but it enhances and it helps, it boosts your organism to be better prepared in fighting with whatever diseases come against us. And since I was telling you about this walk through the forest and how they frame it here as forest medicine, I was actually surprised to find that it's the simple exposure to the color green is helpful to our mental state, mental health, and also our physiological health, because it has a calming and soothing effect. If I go back to the globe, we see green all over the place, and it's, you know, like the basic foundation of life on Earth. It's what net primary production starts with, and it's the color that brings life, brings joy and peace, and gives us a sense of security. So it's just natural to think that exposing yourself to the color green enhances your mental health. And somehow related to that forest medicine concept, and I actually found some interesting places in Europe where you could actually go and hug trees, because it's the full effect. It's exposing your all senses to the forest, and that is sight, seeing the green color, sound. And I actually thought of, when I was reading this, I thought of those endless YouTube videos where you can play in the background the flow of the river. You can play in the background for hours on. You can hear birds chirping, and yes, those are sounds that soothe us. Those are sounds that give us peace. Then you have the smell, and that directly relates to the phytoncides I was talking about just before. And if you go and actually hug trees, you get to touch them. You get to expose your skin to the roughness, the texture of the bark. And there are actually studies that support these claims. And you have studies that try and create better environments for people to work in. And just putting the color green there changed the mood and improved the capacity of the workers. And obviously, we all need and we all feel the benefit of just walking through a park. And that's what they actually put on paper here and quantified. And aside from just how it makes us feel, you have actual evidence of benefits on heart rate, blood pressure, heart rate, rate variability. Overall, what I want to convey, and this is my first takeaway message, is that we are intrinsically connected with nature, because if you think of the society today, it's been like this for the past couple of 100 years. Like 400 years ago, you had a totally different landscape, and we were much more connected with nature and forests. So the way we evolved as a species makes us connected with nature, and we cannot just break apart so quickly. And it's intrinsically in us to feel that need to connect with nature. So yes, definitely, we are rooted in nature, forests, and we need that connection with nature. Well, for the second part of my talk, it's gonna focus on how we actually managed to change the face of the Earth in what is called the Anthropocene. And this is not necessarily for the good, because given all of our activity, economic activity, industrial activity, and everything we see around us, we have come to influence the climate of the planet. And it's a big blue ball floating around the universe, and we actually have been able to change and to impact the climate of the planet, which resulted, or not necessarily resulted, they were actually happened at the same time. You have loss of biodiversity. And how has all this happened? Well, obviously, since I'm talking about forests, we have deforestation. Deforestation for agriculture. We have also agricultural practices that are not necessarily so friendly with nature. We are trying to get better nowadays. Fossil fuel use, we hear about it all the time. Mining activities that actually changed the face of the planet, because if I think of Alberta province where I studied in Canada, you had surface mining for tar sands, where you would get oil out of. And for people that go and visit that place, it looks like the surface of the moon. Not that so many people actually have seen the surface of the moon, but it's not habitable anymore. You're just stripping everything that has grown there for millions of years. Obviously, we have pollution that we see all around us. And related to agriculture, just as another example of our impact, and in this case, we must be aware that it's a negative impact of pesticides on our planet. Now, to get into more details with, did it stop? To get into more details about deforestation, we see here in the first graph that in the past couple of 100 years, the area occupied by forests has decreased. Right? Has decreased, as well as that area that was used for grasslands. Now we have a significant area that's used for crops, obviously, because it's our agricultural age and agricultural land that must produce our food. We also, on this scale, if you think about it, you have a small line for land that is used for urban areas or for settling. And you can see that this clear loss in the past couple of years. Where has all this land been used? How has it changed, or what are we using that land for now? And you can see here that overall deforestation rate in the 90s was around 7.8 million hectares per year. It's a bit dropped in the second decade of 2000 to 2010 to about 5.2 million hectares per year. And now in the last decade, 2010 to 2020, it's below the 5 million hectare mark per year. And most of it is concentrated in South America, this area here, and we all hear about the news in the Amazon forest, where deforestation continues at an alarmingly high rate. You also have a large portion of it in Africa, And what's on the plus side, where you have gains in forest cover, you have Asia. Obviously, with the great Chinese plans to increase the area occupied by forest, you have poplar plantations for whatever uses. Well, they are forests, and we are happy that they are doing that. You have Europe and to some extent North America, but it's still worrying that overall we are still losing area covered, land covered with forests. Well, where is this land going to? Most of it goes into agriculture. And on this graph here, you have various uses. The first one, and with the biggest impact, is beef. You have land that is converted from forests to agricultural land, which is pastures which are used to grow cattle. Here you have, and they put it separately, Brazilian beef, 1.2 million hectares. Then you have the rest of Latin America, so this bar up here, which is 1.7 million hectares, is all the deforestation that happened in the Amazon and went into land that is growing cattle for beef. And then you have some going on in Asia and also Africa. Then you have the other part of the land that is cleared, of the forest that is cleared in order to have palm oil plantations, right? You have soybean and palm oil, which are the same happens on a large scale in South America. Then you have on the third place whatever natural forests we are clearing in order to put on and to establish forest plantations for pulp and paper, and also wood, which I remember reading a paper not long ago about eucalyptus plantations in Chile, I guess it was. And if you can imagine that it was planted to grow as a forest, but wasn't an actual forest as we think of it, because first off, whatever you planted was genetically selected. Then once you planted it, you had to fertilize it, you had to irrigate it, and you had to control weeds. And I remember, and I was shocked to hear that even the day you planted the seedling mattered, because the seedling you planted yesterday already had an advantage over the seedling you plant today. And this shows how much technology has changed the way we grow forests. And obviously, yeah, that forest is great for producing timber, for producing wood, pulp, and paper. But then, on the other hand, that forest is no different to a cornfield. It's barren, it's dry, it has no biodiversity, no life in it. This actually brings me to another statistic that is somehow useful to know, that 25% of the forested area produces 75% of the wood we use worldwide. And this raises the question of how do we want to manage our forests? Do we want to have these plantations, these cultures which produce wood, produce timber and nothing else? Or do we want to have an integrated forest management system where we produce wood but at the same time provide all the other services the forests provide, and those spiritual ones that I was mentioning earlier? But that's still an open question that we haven't found an answer to actually see what's the best balance about it. And then for the other uses, you have cereals, you have sugar and rice, which are more largely happening in Asia. So overall, in the change from 2005 to 2013, 80% of the forest that was cleared, the land went into agriculture. You had about 13% that was used for other forest plantations. And you also have mining and infrastructure. And now, more recently, and we hear about it in the news every summer, you have, due to the negative impact of climate change, you have bigger and bigger and larger wildfires that affect hundreds of thousands of hectares. And I remember back in Canada, they were talking about a wildfire that happened in the summer, and that just burned like 800,000 hectares. If you think about it, we in Romania have about 7 million hectares of forest, and imagine 800,000 hectares just burned down by a wildfire. It's just unimaginable. But it's a natural phenomenon which is exacerbated and which is made more extreme by climate change, which climate change is somehow related to our activities. Okay, well, what's the impact of deforestation? All the areas that were cleared of forest become carbon sources. They are going to emit more carbon into the atmosphere instead of being carbon sinks, because forests absorb carbon through photosynthesis and they are carbon sinks. And I found this graph here where you can see how much biomass, how much carbon is in the actual terrestrial biomass. Then you have the dead wood, the litter, and down below you have 45% of carbon that's in the soil. Obviously, the other impacts of deforestation are soil erosion, changes to the water cycle, because the way water flows to a forest is different to what you have on a pasture. And you have biodiversity loss, which also is enhanced, and the impact of which is made much greater through deforestation. Well, this is an image you don't want to see, but it's from the Amazon forest. Doesn't look too healthy to me. Now, just a short mention about what's been happening and what happened in Romania, because it's on everyone's mind that illegal logging happens in Romania. There are certain places this is an image from the northern part of Romania, which have been affected by, and I wouldn't call it deforestation, because deforestation, as I presented up so far, show it's clearing the land for another purpose. Here in Romania, we had, in the 90s and the early 2000s, problems with the way we managed forests. And actually, there is an infringement case on this opened by the European Commission. They identified about 25,000 hectares that were affected by illegal logging. And after our studies, our field activities, and all the measurements we've done, we found that of those 25,000 hectares, 5,000 growing either after they are planted manually by people, or they are through natural regeneration. Then you have a phase where the forest develops and you need to go in and do some thinning. And then you have the phase where the forest naturally dies off, and then it's the moment where regeneration takes place, and you have to intervene in order to control and direct those natural processes, and that's what you do through forest management. And here are some strategies for enhancing forest resilience, to enhance the capacity of the forest to withstand whatever changes happen in the climate. And one of those would be choice of species, because with climate change, we are seeing that, and you can actually go, and for people that have worked long enough with forests, you can actually see species that are going up in elevation or that are shifting up north. So selecting species that you want to plant is definitely a first step. Why not introduce new species? And this can be a strategy as well. Obviously, putting your egg in one basket doesn't help. So going with mixed species, going with more species is of course, of help. here I just want to emphasize extended rotations, and here in Romania we're actually lucky to already have these extended rotations, because by our standards and regulations, you can only go to this phase of forest regeneration once your forest has reached 100 and 120 years. So that gives you about 100 years for the forest to go through all its natural processes, and that ensures continued sustained productivity. Anyway, in today's today's world, we have challenges related to climate change, which make pest control worse. And I talked about earlier about bark beetles and how they exploded and their population grew out of control in Central Europe, which is somehow explained by some management practices that were not actually helpful and were not actually wise and not working with nature. So whenever you work against nature and against natural processes, you end up losing. And then we have competition for the 4 Fs: food, fuel, fiber, and forest. Because on the same piece of land, you want to produce food, you want to produce fuel, fiber, or have healthy forests. Now at the governmental level, we have the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, and a good amount of money goes to afforestation. So right now we have about 500 million euros that are available to use for planting new forests, and this hopefully should reach us like 27,000 hectares of new forests by June 2026. Overall, this is like a 20-year scheme, and imagine how many things can happen and how many things can go wrong in 20 years, planting a forest today and expecting it to actually be there, and expecting your partner, the government in this case, to be there 20 years from now and giving you the funding that it promised. Overall, in that 20-year period, for a hectare of forest, you should get somewhere around 30,000 euros. Some of the challenges that we are facing implementing this program, one of the major ones, and you wouldn't believe it, is communication and getting the message across to people, because it's the owner's choice to come and bring its piece of land to be planted. Then it's a problem with site suitability, going back to the competition for land that I was talking about. If you want to plant a site, then that site is not going to be used any longer for agriculture or for other practices. And then, typical to Romania, you have legislative hurdles, you have all the bureaucracy that you need to go through in order to plant a forest. Another aspect of what we are trying to do the government level to enhance the way we manage forest is bring in new technologies. And here again, through the National Resilience Plan, we have about 46 million euros that we intend to use to develop satellite imagery in order to see changes in forest cover. We want to have a network of video cameras that are installed on forest roads throughout the country. And then we also want to develop a program which will use LiDAR scanners, LiDAR sensors to scan the forest and give us more information about the state of the forest and the volumes, carbon storage, and so on. So my last takeaway message is that we have the capacity to create healthy forests and to maintain healthy forests. And combining technology and new advances with already existing knowledge, we need to do that. Now, just to recap, we've seen that we as humans are connected to nature. We have managed to somehow derail some natural processes and to negatively impact. We need to acknowledge that. But then we also have the capacity, and it's in our power, and it's actually in our responsibility to reverse that process and create healthy forests. And I think I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Gabi. It's very hard to stop Gabi when he's starting to talk about forest. I remember the tens or perhaps hundreds of nights when we are debating in the student campus together with our Romanian colleagues, but also with the colleagues from abroad, because as nowadays in our aula, several students are coming in Romania to study forestry as well. So Gabi, thank you very much. I invite you, all of you, if you have certain question to ask him during the half an hour break. So please be back at 11:30. Thank you.
găsim și ceva relativ de dezvoltare.
Do I hear clearly?
Aici o să te auzi de la ea.
Can I share my screen now? Oh, do you have something to say?
Hello, we'll wait for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, but you can start sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you very much.
With pleasure. Okay, so welcome back. The next presentation, it will be given through Zoom. It will be a joint presentation given by Ms. Ji Su from Nanjing Agriculture University, dealing with exploring the impact of exotic ornamental plants and indigenous flora on urban ecology, a One Health perspective. So, Ji Su, if you can hear us, please. The online floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. And hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here with City, an undergraduate student from Nanjing Agriculture University. Today, I would like to share my research project with you titled Exploring the Impact of Exotic Ornamental Plants and Indigenous Flora on Urban Ecology, a onehealth perspective. So, one day we passed by the green space near the teaching building and noticed many tulips. Most of them were in full bloom, when others had already from them. People's understanding of exotic and local ornamental plants were not good enough or accurate. Therefore, we promoted our research results was online and offline. We created informative promotional videos and shared them on the platforms such as BBQQ. This video focusing on resistance for the introduction of the common isthmus in China and the developing economy aimed to help readers understand that some of these plants can disrupt local ecosystems. We also organized educational activities on campus through posters, interactive quizzes, and drawing of the local plants on the white t-shirts. These activities aimed to educate more students about the differences between local and exotic ornamental plants. Raise awareness of the potential harm caused by the exotic ornamental plants is also very important. So we want to help others increase their attention to the local plants. Regarding